Welcome, Delphine. And you're here in Washington, D.C. at a very momentous event that we're going to talk a lot about later in this interview. But first of all, where were you born and what state?
I was born in a small coal mining town in Cadogan, Pennsylvania.
Your birthday was what?
I was born November the 23rd, 1924.
So that's going to make you a century in another end of the
November.
year. How do you feel about that?
I can't wait. I'm really anxious. I'm anxious to be 100. I always said I wanted to be 100 years old and get a letter from the President of the United States.
Okay.
That's always been my mission.
Well, we were up there at his house today, but
yeah,
that's okay. He was a busy
Clerk
guy.
came out.
That's okay. Where were you when Pearl Harbor was attacked?
I was standing outside of my grandfather's candy store in Cadogan. Just walked out the door, and my grandfather was sitting on a chair, and he had his radio, those little radios. And I went to say something to him, and he says, "Delphine," and he went like this. Well, when he went like this, we knew not to say anything. And all of a sudden, I heard what he was saying. Tears. Cried.
Did you know where Pearl Harbor was at the time?
Yes, yeah.
Wow, okay. Some people didn't. It was such a...
Yes. Movies.
Yeah? Okay.
For movies.
So you're very sad.
Very sad.
17?
Just turned 17.
Where were you in your family? Were you the oldest or the youngest?
I'm the oldest.
Okay, how many brothers and sisters?
I have one brother that was 18 months younger than me, and I have one sister that's 8 years younger than me.
Are they still been with us?
No, my sister is, yes.
Oh, okay.
She
Well, your
just
brother
turned
passed.
92. My brother passed at 51.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. How long before you decided to go work for the war effort?
Well, I didn't. I never decided to go to work. I was in school.
Okay.
And my uncle went down there to get a job, and Plant wanted Glenell Martin. And then my mom got a call that he had a job for me if I was willing to quit school. So my mom says, "Are you ready to quit school?" And I said, "When do I go?"
How quick can I get there?
Well, everybody else in town was leaving and going to work. And I was
after the war, too,
I was
right?
working. I was in school, but I also had a part-time job at a hardware store.
So the job you worked at qualified you as a Rosie because it contributed to the war effort, correct?
Not before I went to work with Glenell Martin. No.
Oh, okay,
It was just a hardware store.
So you worked there for how many years?
Glenell Martin. Mm-hmm. I started in December. This was in 1943.
43. Okay. And what did you do exactly?
I was a clerk.
Okay.
I took care of a department that was 8 men. Did small parts that you can carry in your hand.
Yeah.
I would go pick up security blueprints. Mm-hmm. And first of all, one of the men has to be done with the job. Then I'd take that job, take it down to another depot where the small parts were handled, and then I would pick up a new blueprint. Mm-hmm. And another small part and bring it back to the gentleman that had been finished with what he was doing.
Okay.
And then I had to program it so when one of the big bosses would come and find out where that part went. Mm-hmm. They used to come and really disturb me.
Oh, really?
They would go through my work. And everything would have to be correct in alphabetical letter.
Right.
Instead of coming, if I wasn't there, wait for me to come, they would go through my work, pull out the papers, and just put them in there anywhere they wanted.
No.
So one of the head bosses of the plant came in, and he was standing there going through my work. And I yelled at him. I said, "Stop! Right now." And he looked at me and he says, "Well, I need some information on such and such a part." And he says, "What's the problem?" I said, "You might be ahead of me, but I'm upset with you because you guys come down here and you go through my work You take my papers out, you lay them on the desk, and then you leave. And I said, then I have to go through everything all over again to find out where this part goes to.
In other words, the men made a mess, and you had to clean it up.
They made a mess.
Okay.
So he said to me, well, what can we do to relieve this? And I said, I thought for a second, I said, bring me like an artist board, and I'll put everything up on the artist board, and we'll use pens. So when you guys come over here to find out what you need, all you have to do is where that pin is, and those pins will be marked. Each one of the men had a different pin code.
But the kind of work you did was very important because it was about aircraft during war.
Yes.
So tell me about that. Was security high security?
High security.
Okay.
Yes.
So you had to be trusted, and you had to work with these somewhat unreasonable men, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Not the men. The men weren't allowed to talk to me.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
The only time I was able to correspond with them was when I brought them their mark, their part, I stuck it on their desk, gave them their blueprint, and walked away.
So your job lasted till around 1944, correct?
I quit in 1944.
Then you got married, right?
I got married.
So tell me about your husband-to-be.
Well, while I was working at Glen L. Martin, I had an attack of appendix. So I had to have surgery.
Okay.
So when for the 6 weeks of surgery recoup, I went home. And it so happened that my husband, boyfriend at the time, was shipped back from England. He had already finished his 35 missions. And
He was a pilot?
he was a Baltimore gunner.
Oh, gunner.
Yeah.
Wow. Dangerous job.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I was home 4 days, and we went out to a dance, and while we were dancing, he asked me if I'd marry him, which we knew for a long time anyhow. And I said yes. So that was on Sunday, and we were married the following Sunday.
Wow.
I was Catholic. The priest had to go to Pittsburgh to get dispensation so that I could be married on Sunday, because they didn't marry on Sunday. And then we went back to New Jersey.
I read in your bio that there was some sort of a telegram that he sent that cost what? What was the story
Well,
behind
that year after I was married,
Okay.
and I put Glen L. Martin to go out to Denver, Colorado with him. I got a job in Western Union. This one boy came in and he wrote a telegram to his girlfriend. I love you, I love you, I love you. Send it off. And then from there, down there, being that I was so quick, they sent me back upstairs to give the telegrams to places where they were sent out into these little tubes, and then they'd go up.
The pneumatic tubes go shoot up there?
Goes up to the third floor, and then they would write up where it went, and then it was delivered.
So when the war ended, where were you?
I was in Greenville, Mississippi, sitting on the steps of the PX.
Okay.
And all of a sudden there was noises and squealing, and cars blowing their horns. And my husband came running up the street and he's yelling, I don't have to go to Japan, the war is over. He was listed to go to Japan.
You must have been very, very pleased.
Oh, yes.
And very relieved,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So the war years ended, and then a lot of the Rosies we've talked to said that they were working in factories and other places, and they basically got the pink slip when the men came back from war.
Yeah,
Did that happen to you? Or
No,
Okay.
no. When we went to Greenville, Mississippi, I looked for a job, but they wouldn't hire me because they knew that we would be moving again.
Yeah.
They wouldn't hire soldiers' wives.
Yeah.
So it was okay.
There were a lot of laws at that time that if you were pregnant, for example, or if you were pregnant, for example, they wouldn't let you work in certain jobs, right?
No.
That never happened?
No.
Okay. How many children did you have?
How many what?
Children did you have?
Children. I'm sorry. I had 5.
5? Okay.
4 girls and a boy.
Wow.
I lost one girl with a brain tumor. My baby.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She had a brain tumor when she was 30 years old.
Okay. So when were you first approached about being a Rosie?
You know what? I was never approached. My son-in-law was talking to Clara Doll, and he asked her if I could be a Rosie. And she's the one that told us, yes, I could be a Rosie.
Because of your job during the war years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And
So-
I worked in Baltimore.
Did you immediately say, that's kind of cool, or did you kind of go, what is that about?
Oh, I was really excited.
Yeah, okay.
You know, really excited. Yeah, she did an interview of my job and how I worked and all that. And so I'm in the Rosie Arcades.
So what's it mean to be a Rosie?
It's hard for me to explain. I just think it's wonderful. I mean, it's so exciting, and there's so many nice, good people, and I like the attention.
I saw you today saying, take a picture of me in front of the,
Yeah.
you were in front of the, where were you, in the FDR's, with the fireplace chat and all that?
Yeah.
In the room where FDR was? Yeah,
Well,
it was-
almost all the Rosies were up there getting pictures.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, you weren't the only one. I know.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love. I
yeah.
love my kids call me a diva.
Uh-huh.
So I have to tell you this. Christmas, all the kids are standing around. We were opening up presents. My grandson, Diane's son, hands me this picture, you know, in a box. And I thought, oh, he's giving me a picture of him and the kids and his wife. I opened it up. It's a queen with her little, whatever you call those things, you know, and my picture, face on this picture.
So you're Queen Delphine?
I'm Queen Delphine.
Okay, that sticks. That kind of works.
Oh, honey, I laughed so hard it wasn't even funny.
So let's fast forward a little bit to your years in Hawaii. Was your first commemoration 2 years ago you came to?
First time for me.
First time.
Yes.
So what was that like going out to Pearl Harbor?
Just wonderful.
What was the best memory you had there?
Now, meeting Seal.
Oh, Seal McDonald. Yeah.
Just meeting Seal.
Yeah.
And then I was so impressed with just the way everything went and how the people were and how they received us. Yeah.
How the Park Service employees and
Yes,
and other
everybody.
employees and there were all the visitors that came up to you and kind of like
Yes.
treated you guys like rock stars, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just wonderful.
Did you go on the Arizona Memorial?
Yes, I did.
I can remember having pictures of you there. What did you
Yeah.
think of that when you were there?
Oh, sad.
Yeah.
Very sad. I cried. Very sad.
Very somber place, isn't it?
Yeah.
When your dad said that day, quiet, listen to the radio, that Pearl Harbor had already happened and all those men were already dead. Yeah.
Just so sad.
Yeah.
My next door neighbor, he was at Pearl Harbor the day that it was bombed, and he had severe burns on his arm.
Is he still alive?
He died 3 months ago.
2 months ago.
3.
Did you meet some of the Pearl Harbor survivors when you were there?
When I was there,
in
just the
Pearl-
men that this year,
Yeah.
the men that was there for Pearl Harbor,
The
December
ones up,
7th.
yeah, the ones up in the front row.
Yeah.
So did you talk to any of them?
I talked to one survivor, and they took a picture of us, and him and one of the other girls is like me, you can stand up.
Yeah.
So they put him in the middle of us and told us to hold him up. He was 90-some years old.
Well, let's talk about this last 2 days. So you come to Washington, D.C. When did you hear about this gold medal? When did they tell you that this was going to happen?
Oh, a couple months ago.
And what were you thinking?
It would never happen.
You thought it would never happen.
I thought it would never happen.
So what do you think now?
I am enthused. I am so happy and so excited about the whole thing, especially mine. The only thing that I was hoping that there had a little thing in the back so we could pin it, that it's going to go in a frame.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations. So you also got some really interesting travels. You went to the White House today.
Yes.
And you went to, did you go to the Congressional tour yesterday?
Yes.
So what did you think of all those things?
Oh. Fantastic. Just absolutely mind-blowing. My favorite thing at the White House was the blue room.
The blue room.
The blue room.
Why the blue room?
I just love blue.
Oh, okay.
And I can think a lot of Kennedy, John Kennedy. He spent a lot of time in the blue room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That drawing of him was sort of sad because his arms were down and he looked sad, and you thought about how his life ended too, tragically.
In 1941, just like during the war years, what was that like for you?
At 41, I was still in school.
Oh, sorry, 42, 42, 43, 44. Just during World War II, what was that like living through it? Was it, were you scared a lot, or were people scared, or were they just really motivated to?
We were too busy to be as scared. I was busy working hard. I didn't work hard in Baltimore because of the job we had, but it was just tiptoe. That's about it.
And you'd hear things like, I guess, on the radio or in the newspaper, but that was
just through the radio. We'd hear things. We just couldn't wait for the news. And the theater. You go to the theater and this would all be on. That's the only thing you would see it. Yeah. I had an uncle. Is it okay?
Sure.
I had an uncle that was in the Army. He was Bill Bridges. And I'm sitting in the theater watching the movie. Remember Joel Lewis?
Yeah.
He was boxing Joel Lewis on the theater. I yelled, "That's my uncle, that's my uncle." And when the movie was over, I went down and told my grandma and my grandfather, which I spent most of my life with. And they went, the people that owned the theater was very good friends of theirs. They won it for my grandma and my grandpa to see their son. Yep. That's one of my, exciting things to see your uncle on fighting John L. Lewis, sparring.
You said you think the gold medal would never happen. Is it because, when you first started working right out of high school, and you had, and then you had a family and all that, do you think that the Rosie movement helped women?
Yes, I do.
And why is that?
Yes. Because they're pushers. They push and they fight to get what we need. That May, what her name, May,
Right.
May,
Right.
yeah. She has worked really hard to get us that medal. I don't think us Rosies really thought about anything like that. But
She and
wonderful.
Phyllis, who was
Yeah.
Marion's sister, right?
Yeah.
So it was a collective effort, though, right?
Right for her, yes. And she deserved to be able the first one with it.
If you were to talk to a teenage girl today about, life and, work and all that, what would you tell them? Based on your experience?
You know what? That just happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was a group of kids coming down the street,
Uh-huh.
and they saw that we were Rosies, and they're standing at all. And I told them that they asked us questions, and I said, just take care of your country. Be honored that you are a United States citizen. And one boy hugged me.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
It's an honor. It is really an honor to be a Rosie.
Now, for your 100th birthday, are we going to see you in Hawaii?
We're hoping to be there
Okay.
December the 7th again.
Okay.
It'll be the third year. My family wants to have a big party for me. I have very few relatives. My uncles, I'm the oldest in my family. I'm the oldest in my husband's family. I never had any relatives except for my mother's dad and my 3 uncles and my aunt. That was my family. Everybody was in Italy. Kristen is planning to bring her family, and Diane's son Brian is planning on bringing his family.
Being there, we're out in Hawaii. We hope to see you next year, or at least December.
Yes.
And so, and then when you turn that 100, we'll be out cheering for you. Well, thank you very much for your. Thank you so much for the time, and we really appreciate it. And you take care.
Yep. Great knowing you.
Great knowing you.
Yes.